A lot of the same things from last night I felt as I watched it again today with a chance to review and talk through it with the staff. There were some positives that I'd like to point out to start here. One of them would be, we had 4 rookie starters in that game, which was good. Those guys did a good job. I was excited to see them perform and it not be too big for them. I was really pleased with a lot of things that Cam did in the game, which is really important. He operated well. He managed the game. There's definitely some things he's going to learn from that I think are going to be really critical for his jump from week 1 to week 2. But the operation and handling the environment and his poise was really impressive. So that part was encouraging. I'm excited about that. Had a couple of offensive miscues that I think could have resulted in some potential big plays for us that we didn't connect on. We got to clean those things up. I think we had some opportunities to be smarter with the ball when it came to the sacks and things of that nature in the fringe areas. I got to do a better job there. We'll get that fixed. I had 4 takeaways on defense, 3 on defense and 1 on special teams, which I think led the NFL this week. So that emphasis was good to see to come out of that with some production on the ball, which was great. Got to do a better job complementing those things offensively and finding ways to get 7 points out of those instead of 3. And then one of them we didn't get any out of. So we got to find a better rhythm offensively to complement those particular ones. Situationally, we have to be better. I have to be better. There was definitely things that we got to improve on there. Some of the third downs we spent most of the day in 3rd and 7+, 3rd and 10+. Against that defense, and that was one of the key parts to our ability to win was to stay on track in those moments, and we didn't do a good enough job of that offensively overall. Tough environment on the road against a good football team. I thought our guys battled. I think we played with great effort, but you win by doing the small things, and I think ultimately we didn't do enough of those things over the course of the game, particularly when it came to the penalties. Those were a couple of them inexcusable. We can't have them if we want to win football games in this league. And it wasn't that part we got to get cleaned up for sure, and we'll be better there. And again, I know you guys are all here for the conversation about the play with Elic and challenging the play and what I said after the game. And look, ultimately, my interpretation of the rule was wrong. I'll own it. We should have challenged the play, and that's pretty much all I can say about it. Is I'll own the mistake. Should have challenged it, and that's where it stands. So other than that, you guys can go ahead.
With that being said, obviously there are other people who may have been able to tell you, hey, go ahead and challenge that. What happened there?
That process and how those things get relayed, I'll keep those in-house. But I'm the head coach of the football team, and my job is to make those decisions. And I didn't do a good enough job in that moment. I should have challenged it, and it probably would have resulted in a potential explosive play. So should have challenged the play. I got a little more clarity on it now at this point. At the end of the day, those things happen really fast, and you're starting to get ready for the next play call, and you're waiting on information from what the look looks like. And look, I misspoke on it after the game, and I'll own that. I'm aware of the rules. I understand the rules. Again, a mistake that I made that I gotta correct, just like I'd ask our players to. Yeah, there was. We got beat pretty quick. It's also, I'm not going to put that all on Cam. I think the pressure was happening fast, and the ball on both those plays could have definitely had quicker answers, certainly. The first one would have been tough. The outlet there in that particular throw would have been to Tony, and Tony got stuck trying to get out. That ball's got to go to the back, and then the third down play, hard to say that's on Cam. That pressure came pretty quickly. We were in a spot where, generally speaking, was expecting some potential heavy pressure on that fringe area to see if they could try to knock us out and or have us force the ball out quick. So we called them max protection. They didn't bring the pressure, and we didn't get the execution, the protection, in that moment as good as we would have liked. So those things, again, when they don't work and those things happen, it's the criticisms are all fair. And ultimately, I got to do a better job at helping put Cam in a better spot. I think the penalty part, that part was frustrating, certainly, to have that amount and some of the types of penalties. Those are things that I was hopeful that we had grown past, and that the emphasis on it would show up for us. There was no indication that obviously that would happen the way it did. But they were big, they were critical penalties. I mean, there was some major third down penalties. The holdings are subjective. They get called every game. You're gonna have some here and there. Some crews call more than others. But yeah, I was disappointed by that, and the amount of work that we put into it to have that show up in that opening game was definitely disappointing. And we just got to keep going through the process. I mean, there's no shortcut to eliminating those things. You show them, you're accountable to them, and you make your coaching points, and you keep moving. It's just like any play, any technique, anything that you're trying to emphasize, you keep at it. And as far as what was the second part again? The play calls in. Again, I think our biggest issue in the play calls was the tempo back into the huddle. I think we were getting back a little bit later. We weren't good enough tempo-wise in that regard. We'll emphasize that. That'll be better. Loud, trying to get in and out of the huddle. Didn't give Cam enough time a few times to operate. And I think that's me as a play caller, and that's our tempo in the huddle, into the huddle, and out of it as well. So definitely something we got to get fixed for the next road game. It's not really about saving him per se. It's about the loading coming off an injury and very limited practice time. And when you've practiced for a really short amount of time, we track all the GPS volumes and all the work that he's gotten in, and he had worked up to a particular volume that we felt comfortable where you're not pushing past that strain. And there was a cap put on that. And look, it's frustrating. It's a frustrating thing for guys when they get ready to go play in a game. That's not easy for them to do. That's not something that is usually very smooth at the end of the day. Because once they get in that mode to go play, they want to play. But organizationally, from a health standpoint, over the course of time, over the course of 17 games, you put yourself at risk when you just go in there to a game and you play 65 plays. The risk of injury, especially soft tissue, goes way up. And that was part of the thought process in that was that, we're going to build the load back up because he hadn't had a lot of practice time in between. So would have loved to see him play more, certainly. And I think he's going to keep building into that ability to play for an entire game with the limited work he's had up until this point.
Will he be able to do that as early as next week, do you think, or will it take maybe another week?
We're going to see. We're going to see how practice goes. We'll increase his load in practice again this week. He'll go more. He'll practice with more reps and more volume, and we'll see what that looks like by the end of the week, and we'll make a determination for the game. And that's a collective determination that's made between all of us, training room, Mike, myself, and we try to do what's best for the player for the long term at the end of the day.
Times that guys,
we might have had one or two, but I think if you're talking about like moving the running backs and stuff, we move our backs for protection purposes quite a bit, especially when they get into some of those 6-man fronts where they got two backers mugged in there. Like, we'll move the backs around and we'll check protections and things like that. So a lot of that was probably that.
these were some receivers, I felt like, no?
Some of it was it different than motion? There wasn't really a lot of those from my point of view, frankly. Maybe like I said, one or two. If you point them out to me, I can tell you if they're accurate or not.
Given
Last two guys.